Grade 11s, welcome to week 25. We're looking at social organization, and in our last lesson we saw how some organisms, particularly herbivores, organize themselves into herds and carnivores organize themselves into packs. Now today we're going to look at a different kind of social organization called castes. In caste systems, what we find is a division of labor. Now, when we talk about division of labor, we mean that some individuals in the social group specialize in certain tasks, while others in the social organization will do other tasks. For example, one group in our social organization could be in charge of feeding. It is their task, it is their job to find food for the rest of the group. Another task could be defense, and it is the task of this group to defend the nest or the hive from other organisms that may wish to come and eat them. And it is in dividing up the jobs that the social group is able to survive more successfully than if they were operating as individuals. The specialized groups are known as castes. So there will be the caste that is involved with defense, the caste that is involved with feeding, and so on. Bees are an example of such a social group. A beehive is a very close-knit social group where each individual has a specific task to perform. Their task is going to help to ensure the survival of the whole group. The tasks are carried out by three castes. There is the worker caste. The worker caste does precisely what its name suggests. The worker is involved with cleaning, repairing and building a hive, and making sure that food is brought back to the hive. Interestingly, among bees, there are different castes or different groups of workers. There are the nurses that look after the young, there are the builders of the hive, and there are those that go and forage or collect food. The queen is the female reproductive. She is the one that produces all of the other workers. The drone is the male reproductive. The tasks, therefore, are carried out by these three castes, and it is the queen who controls how the other castes will behave and will function. And how does she do this? Well, she produces a chemical known as a pheromone, and a pheromone is a chemical that is released into the air that controls either the workers or the drones to behave in certain ways. She can transmit this chemical by touch as well as by releasing it into the atmosphere around the area where she is. Termites are also social insects that divide the labor or functions of the group up amongst different castes. There are worker termites, soldier termites, male reproductives, and the queen. And you can see from the termite examples that the castes can even appear very, very different from each other. The workers are very often the little termites that you may see. Sometimes termites are called white ants. They're not ants at all, but they do have a pale appearance. The soldiers, here there are even two different kinds of soldiers. There are what we call mandibulate soldiers that have huge pinching mandibles. And then there are the kinds of soldiers that squirt chemicals. You can see they have a pointed set of mouth parts, and they squirt chemicals at the enemies, a kind of acid that burns enemies. The male reproductives have wings. You may have sometimes seen them flying around at dusk or when the sun is setting, and you might have referred to them as flying ants. Once again, they're not ants, they're termites. The queen has this enormous abdomen. She can't even move once her abdomen is swollen with eggs. And she is responsible for producing all the offspring. Similarly to the situation that occurred in beehives, the queen controls all the other castes using pheromones or chemicals to keep them under control. Here are your homework questions. What is a caste? Why is there division of labor in these social insects? And name some of the castes.